My son Ryan called to uninvite me from his beach wedding because his fiancée, Ashley, apparently found my maternal presence too intimidating. I hung up the phone, poured a generous glass of Pinot Grigio, and, let's just say, a plan began to simmer. If you're watching this, leave a comment and tell me what you would have done. Let me rewind and introduce myself. I'm Margaret Williams, 62, retired high school principal, and, as of last week, the internet's favorite, or least favorite, depending on who you ask, mother-in-law. The saga began on a deceptively ordinary Tuesday morning when my phone trilled. "Mom, we need to talk," Ryan said, deploying that carefully calibrated tone he's used since childhood when delivering news he knew would sting. "What's troubling you, dear?" "Ashley and I have been, discussing the wedding. She's just incredibly stressed about every detail being absolutely perfect. You know how brides get." I knew exactly where this carefully worded preamble was heading, but I allowed him to continue digging. "And, well, she doesn't feel comfortable with you there. She's worried your presence might make things awkward." 27 years I single-parented this child after his own father decided diapers and bedtime stories weren't exactly his forte. I worked tirelessly, scrimped and saved to afford his college, his first car, and that ridiculously overpriced security deposit on his first apartment. I even managed to choke down 2 years of Ashley's subtle digs about my quaint fashion sense and comfort food cuisine. "I understand," I replied, striving for a calm I certainly didn't feel. "And you concur with this request, Ryan?" "Mom, please, don't make this more difficult than it needs to be. It's just one day. We'll have a lovely brunch when they return from their honeymoon." "Of course," I replied smoothly. "I completely understand." The relief in his voice was practically palpable. "Really? Oh, thank you, Mom. You're being so reasonable." After hanging up, I remained seated at my kitchen table, my gaze fixated on the offensively elegant wedding invitation displayed on my refrigerator. Ashley Thompson and Ryan Williams, exchanging vows at Sunset Beach Resort this Saturday. The very same invitations I'd helped Ryan address because Ashley's supposed carpal tunnel flared up at the mere thought of calligraphy. I removed the offending card, tore it decisively in two, and deposited it in the trash. Then, I opened my laptop. You see, my soon-to-be ex-daughter-in-law had underestimated one crucial thing: my digital footprint. I may be eligible for senior discounts, but I've been navigating social media since before she knew what a hashtag was. 30 years teaching high school meant I'd dealt with generations of entitled adolescents and their accompanying melodramas. Ashley Thompson Williams was about to learn that this old dog had a few digital tricks she'd never even considered. But first, a phone call was in order. At precisely 8 a.m. the following morning, I dialed my sister, Sandra. Sandy's always been the family rebel, the one with a penchant for mischief and a complete disregard for social norms. "Maggie, what's wrong? You only call at this ungodly hour if someone's either dead or in jail." "Neither, just disinvited. Ryan uninvited me from his wedding." "He what? The nerve of that little ingrate! After everything you've done for him?" I relayed the entire story, punctuating it with her appropriately outraged interjections. Sandy, though 2 years my junior, possesses the youthful spirit of someone half her age, making her the perfect accomplice for my endeavor. "All right, spill the beans," she demanded after I finished. "What's the plan, Maggie? I recognize that steely tone you used to use when confronting kids cheating on their exams." "I need you to conduct some reconnaissance. Ashley Thompson, age 28, works at Morrison Marketing downtown. I require information on her daily routine." "Margaret Elizabeth Williams, what exactly are you planning?" "Nothing illegal, I assure you. Simply information gathering." A pregnant pause. "This is about more than just the wedding, isn't it?" She was right, of course. For 2 years, I'd observed Ashley systematically isolating Ryan from his family and longtime friends. She'd subtly implied that I was too critical and his college buddies were, well, hopelessly immature. Every holiday morphed into a tense negotiation where Ashley's preferences reigned supreme. Every family dinner included thinly veiled jabs regarding my decor, my cooking, my life choices. I'd remained silent, swallowing my resentment, terrified of losing my son. Apparently, I was losing him anyway. Sandy, what would you say if I mentioned I had acquired a video that might be of interest to certain wedding guests? I'd say, do tell. Saturday morning, I found myself discreetly positioned at Brewster's Cafe downtown, enjoying a cappuccino and, quite unintentionally, observing Ashley in a rather compromising situation. She met someone there, a tall, attractive man with dark hair, definitely not Ryan. Oh, Maggie, please don't tell me. I hadn't intended to, but witnessing her practically draped over this stranger in broad daylight, just days before her wedding, well, I felt a certain civic duty to document it. The truth is, I'd been observing Ashley for 3 days. Something about her smug assurance when she answered Ryan's phone the night he delivered the uninvitation had rankled me. Ashley seemed utterly convinced of her victory. I'd learned long ago that people concealing something inevitably reveal themselves when they think they are unobserved. You captured it on film. 47 glorious minutes of Ashley Thompson engaging in highly animated conversation with someone clearly not her future husband. Sandy emitted a laugh that reminded me of our teenage escapades. What's my role, Commander? Meet me at the mall tomorrow. We're embarking on a mission to acquire the perfect, shall we say, personalized wedding gift. Thursday morning, Sandy and I convened at Riverside Mall, resembling two ordinary suburban shoppers preparing for a garden party rather than orchestrating what could generously be described as strategic retribution. So, what's our cover story? Sandy inquired as we strolled past the central fountain where teenagers were taking selfies. We're not snooping. We're merely searching for suitable wedding presents. Intriguing, highly individualized wedding presents. We drove past Morrison Marketing that morning, confirming Ashley's remarkably consistent schedule. She departed for lunch at precisely 12:15 p.m. and returned at 1:30 p.m. daily, according to a receptionist Sandy had charmed with a fabricated story about surprising Ashley with a floral delivery. The gentleman from the cafe rendezvous was identified as Jake Patterson, a fact I gleaned through the power of online searches and a little discreet surveillance. Jake owned a fitness studio just 3 blocks from Ashley's office. Married, according to his Instagram profile, with 2 adorable children and a wife named Jennifer who regularly posted inspirational quotes and family photos. This is becoming complicated, Sandy commented as we settled into a coffee shop strategically located across from the gym. It's about to simplify. Observe. Ashley emerged from the gym at 2:45 p.m., sporting workout attire that likely cost more than my monthly mortgage payment. Her hair remained perfectly coiffed, defying the supposed rigors of exercise. She checked her phone, glanced around furtively, then proceeded to a black SUV parked in a nearby alley. Jake appeared 5 minutes later, exuding nonchalance, and slid into the passenger seat. "They're not even attempting subtlety," Sandy muttered. I raised my phone and resumed recording. Why should they? Ashley has successfully portrayed me as a bitter, resentful old woman desperately clinging to her son. Ryan would never entertain any negative portrayal of his precious fiancée. The SUV emerged from the alley and proceeded toward a residential neighborhood. I had already mapped this route the previous day. They arrived at a modest apartment complex on Maple Street, Unit 214, apparently Jake's secret love nest. "We're taking a scenic detour. We're embarking on a leisurely drive. Should we happen to observe anything noteworthy? Well, that's merely fortuitous timing." 20 minutes later, we sat parked nearby, observing Ashley and Jake enter the apartment building. I noted the time, 3:17 p.m. They'd been repeating this pattern for weeks according to my diligently compiled data, every Tuesday and Thursday like clockwork. "Maggie, what exactly do you intend to do with all this information?" I gazed at my sister, remembering her steadfast support through Ryan's father's abandonment, through every school play and baseball game when I was the only parent cheering from the sidelines. Sandy had been present for every milestone, every crisis, every moment that truly mattered. Now my son was preparing to marry someone who deemed me unworthy of inclusion in his wedding. I'm going to present them with precisely what they deserve, a wedding video they will never, ever forget. Friday evening, I sat immersed in my home office, meticulously editing video footage with the dedication of a filmmaker preparing for the Oscars. Technology may evolve, but the skills I acquired creating year-end presentations for the school board seamlessly translated to crafting what I now affectionately termed my wedding gift. The doorbell chimed at 7 p.m. Ryan stood on my porch bearing a bottle of wine and an expression of palpable guilt. "Mom, may we talk?" I ushered him inside, observing how he avoided eye contact and gravitating toward the kitchen where we'd shared so many pivotal conversations throughout his life. "I brought your favorite," he announced, placing the bottle on the counter. "Bribery wine. This must be serious." He had the good grace to appear embarrassed. "I realize yesterday was difficult. Ashley feels terribly about how things unfolded." "I'm certain she does. The thing is, her family adheres to very formal traditions. They have rigid customs about wedding parties and guest lists. Her grandmother is exceptionally traditional in these matters." Each fabricated excuse flowed effortlessly from his lips. I'd met Ashley's grandmother on precisely one occasion, a delightful woman who'd expressed immense pleasure that Ashley had found someone with such a supportive mother. Apparently, that conversation never reached Ashley. "Ryan, please, sit down." He perched uneasily on a bar stool, resembling a contrite teenager. "Mom, please don't personalize this situation. It's their special day." "You're correct. It is their day, and I wish for it to be absolutely perfect for them." Relief washed over his face. "Really? You're not upset?" I extended my hand across the counter and gently squeezed his, the same hand I'd held through countless doctor's visits, school events, and youthful heartbreaks. "Darling, my only desire is your happiness. That's all I've ever wanted." "I love you, Mom. You know that, right?" "I know." After his departure, I returned to my computer. The video neared completion, 3 meticulously curated files: the cafe rendezvous, the gym tryst, and yesterday's apartment visit. Crisp footage, impeccable audio, and clearly visible timestamps. All the hallmarks of a compelling documentary. I'd also dedicated the afternoon to creating discreet social media accounts. Not personally, of course. I remained merely a heartbroken mother unjustly excluded from her son's wedding. However, my friend Sarah Mitchell, whose online persona I'd carefully crafted with stock photos and a plausible backstory, already boasted a substantial following. Sarah was a wedding photographer who championed truth and transparency. She shared inspirational quotes about love and fidelity. She held strong convictions regarding marital fidelity and respect. People adored her content. Tomorrow, Sarah would be attending a beach wedding as an invited guest, where she would, by chance, capture some extremely intriguing footage. My phone vibrated with a text message from Ryan. "Thank you for your understanding, Mom. You're the best. See you when we return." I replied, "Have a beautiful wedding, darling. You deserve everything that's coming to you." Utterly truthful words, every single one. Saturday morning dawned idyllic for a beach wedding. Sunny skies, 78 degrees, and a gentle ocean breeze. I dressed in a navy blue sundress and comfortable sandals, grabbed my professional-grade camera, and drove to Sunset Beach Resort. The parking area buzzed with activity. I recognized several faces from Ryan's college years and Ashley's workplace. They all appeared joyful, checking their phones and adjusting their makeup in anticipation of the ceremony. I parked several rows back and surveyed the scene. The ceremony was scheduled for 4 p.m. on the beach, succeeded by the reception in the resort's ballroom. I'd been deeply involved in planning this wedding, recalling every detail from the time I was still welcomed into the inner circle. At 2 p.m., I casually entered the resort lobby, projecting an air of belonging. No one questioned a well-dressed woman carrying professional photography equipment. Wedding photographers were commonplace at beach resorts. "Excuse me," I inquired of the concierge. "Could you please direct me to the Thompson-Williams wedding preparation suite?" "Certainly, the bridal party is in the Sunset Suite on the 3rd floor. Simply follow the directional signs." I took the elevator up and found the hallway filled with commotion. Bridesmaids in choral gowns hurried between rooms, carrying bouquets and makeup bags. The groomsmen were gathered in the Sunrise Suite across the hall, and I could overhear Ryan's excited voice. For a fleeting moment, I wavered. He sounded so happy. This was my son's wedding day. Then, Ashley's unmistakable voice drifted from the bridal suite. God, I'm so relieved we didn't invite his mother. She would have found a way to make everything revolve around her. Honestly, the woman still dresses like it's 1995. Her bridesmaids erupted in laughter, and one of them remarked, "At least you won't have to endure her presence often after this. Living in separate states will help." Separate states? They were relocating. I moved closer to the door, feigning adjustments to my camera settings. Ryan's not aware yet, Ashley continued. I'm planning to tell him after the honeymoon. I received a job offer in California, and honestly, it's the ideal opportunity to escape all his excess baggage. His friends are childish, and his mother is simply clingy and pathetic. Another bridesmaid responded, "What if he resists moving?" Ashley's laughter chilled me to the bone. "He'll comply with my wishes. He always does. The man is utterly controlled." I'd heard enough, more than enough. I retraced my steps to the elevator, descended to the lobby, and went outside to await the unfolding drama. The wedding commenced in 2 hours. Jake Patterson would be attending as Ashley's friend from work, as listed on the guest roster I'd helped assemble months earlier. This was evolving into a truly captivating spectacle. At 3:45 p.m., I took my position on the public beach access, close enough to document the proceedings, yet sufficiently removed to evade detection. The wedding party assembled as the guests were seated. Ryan looked dashing in his white linen suit. Ashley was breathtaking in her designer gown. The officiant began the ceremony, intoning about love, fidelity, and honesty. I began recording. The ceremony was undeniably beautiful. I will grant them that. Ryan's eyes welled up as Ashley made her way down the aisle. The vows were conventional, yet heartfelt. Even I felt a tug of emotion as I watched my son promise to love and honor someone who, within 48 hours, would be the most detested bride on the internet. Following the traditional exchange of rings, the guests adjourned to the reception. I trailed at a distance, filming everything: the cocktail reception, the dinner, the speeches praising Ashley's sweetness and Ryan's good fortune in finding such an extraordinary woman. Then came the dancing. Ashley and Ryan shared their first dance to "At Last" by Etta James. So romantic, so flawless, and so utterly ironic considering my knowledge of the bride's clandestine activities. At 9:30 p.m., I noticed Jake Patterson approaching Ashley during a slow song. They conversed briefly, and I observed her glancing about nervously before following him toward the beach exit. I slipped out a side door and concealed myself behind a sand dune with my camera. The audio wasn't as clear outdoors, but the visual was exceptional. Ashley and Jake walked to a secluded spot about 50 yards from the reception. Even with the distance, the body language was unmistakable. This wasn't an innocent chat between colleagues. He kissed her. She reciprocated for a full 3 minutes while her new husband swayed inside, utterly oblivious. I documented every second. As they separated, I heard Ashley declare, "In 2 hours, we can depart." I informed Ryan that I feel a headache coming on. "My room awaits," Jake replied. "Jennifer believes I'm attending a conference in Miami until Sunday. Ideal. One last celebration before the honeymoon." They returned separately, Ashley leading the way, followed by Jake 5 minutes later. I waited until they were inside before proceeding to the parking lot to upload everything to my laptop. 3 hours later, I was ensconced in my home, possessing a USB drive containing 2 hours of Ashley's wedding day footage, as well as the earlier videos from the cafe, gym, and apartment. I'd also recorded several crucial audio snippets that would provide essential context. I brewed a cup of tea and opened my laptop. Sarah Mitchell had diligently cultivated anticipation for her special wedding project, designed to expose the realities of modern marriage. Her follower count had surged to 50,000 individuals, eagerly awaiting her next post. I consulted the clock. 2:17 a.m. In 5 hours, Ryan and Ashley would be en route to Cancun for their honeymoon. By the time they touched down, wedding day. Truth, when love isn't enough, would be trending globally. I scheduled the post for 7 a.m. and went to bed. 3 days after being informed that I was persona non grata at my son's wedding, I was about to deliver the most unforgettable wedding gift of his life, unwavering, unvarnished truth. By 9:00 a.m. Sunday morning, Wedding Day Truth, When Love Isn't Enough, had accumulated 2.3 million views and continued to climb exponentially. My phone had been vibrating non-stop since 7:30, which I ignored while I prepared pancakes and watched the comment count soar. The video was a masterpiece of editing, if I may say so myself. It commenced with captivating wedding footage, Ryan and Ashley looking radiant, reciting their vows, and executing their first dance. Then, the screen split. On one side, Ashley slow dancing with her new husband. On the other side, grainy security footage from the cafe exhibiting her with Jake 3 days earlier. The audio was devastating. Ashley's voice from the bridal suite, "God, I'm so relieved we didn't invite his mother." The woman is simply clingy and pathetic, followed by a quick cut to her reciting her wedding vows. "I promise to honor you above all others." The climax was pure cinematic artistry. Ashley and Jake kissing on the beach while, at last, played softly in the background, then switching to Ryan inside, totally oblivious, laughing with his groomsmen. Sarah Mitchell's caption was perfect. "This groom deserves so much better." When you exclude family from your wedding, sometimes the truth finds an alternate route to be heard. Wedding truth. Justice, just a modern marriage. My phone rang for the 15th time, Ryan's number. I allowed it to divert to voicemail again. At 9:47 a.m., someone knocked on my door. Through the peephole, I saw Sandy holding a bag from my preferred bakery, sporting a Cheshire cat grin. "You magnificent, vengeful genius," she exclaimed, pushing past me into the kitchen. "Have you monitored the news cycle?" "What news?" She turned on my television and flipped to the local morning program. There was Ashley's wedding photo displayed on the screen with the headline, "Viral Wedding Video Exposes Cheating Bride." The anchor was announcing, "The videographer's identity remains unknown, but the footage has triggered a national discourse about marital honesty and the treatment of extended family at contemporary weddings." "They're referring to you as a mystery wedding photographer," Sandy chortled. "Channel 7 wants to interview Sarah Mitchell but can't locate her. Imagine that." My phone vibrated with a text message from an unidentified number. "We are aware it was you. Erase the video or there will be repercussions. A." I shared the message with Sandy. "It seems Ashley's not enjoying her honeymoon. What are your next steps?" "None. I am a grieving mother who was unjustly excluded from her son's wedding. What insights would I possess regarding viral videos?" The doorbell chimed again. This time, it was Jennifer Patterson, Jake's wife. I recognized her from her Instagram photos, but she looked nothing like the smiling woman who posted inspirational quotes. Her eyes were bloodshot, her hands trembling. "Mrs. Williams, I'm Jennifer Patterson. I believe we need to have a conversation." I invited her inside, offered her coffee, and waited for her to speak. "My husband is in that video," she stated quietly. "I've suspected something for months, but witnessing it like that, with the timestamps." Her voice broke. "I am truly sorry," I responded, with genuine sincerity. "I never intended for innocent bystanders to suffer." "You did the right thing," she said, wiping her eyes. "My children warrant a better role model than a deceitful father. Your son deserves better than a cheating wife. How long has this been occurring?" "At least 3 months to my knowledge." Jennifer nodded. "The apartment on Maple Street. I discovered the lease agreement in his desk. It's been 6 months. 6 months." Ashley had been meticulously planning this wedding, accepting gifts, allowing people to invest thousands of dollars in travel and accommodations, all while sustaining a parallel relationship. "What are you going to do?" I inquired. "I've already filed for divorce. My lawyer says the video is admissible evidence. Jake is going to lose everything." She met my gaze directly. "Thank you for revealing the truth. It must have been excruciating, knowing it would also cause pain to your son." Following her departure, I sat in my living room staring at my phone. 17 missed calls from Ryan, 12 from Ashley, and 6 from unknown numbers. The video now had 4.1 million views. My phone rang again. This time I answered. "Mom?" Ryan's voice was broken. "We need to talk." Ryan arrived at my house Monday evening, appearing as though he'd aged 5 years in 2 days. His honeymoon tan couldn't conceal the exhaustion in his eyes. The entire resort was aware, he confessed, slumping into my kitchen chair. People were staring, whispering. Someone recognized Ashley from the video and actually asked for her autograph. Can you fathom that? They wanted her autograph. I poured him some coffee and patiently waited. Sometimes the most profound thing a mother can provide is a listening ear. Ashley is convinced you hired a private detective. She believes this was all orchestrated, that you've been secretly monitoring her for months. And what is your opinion? He looked at me, his eyes rimmed with red. I believe my mother wouldn't engage in something so cruel merely because her feelings were hurt. His accusation stung more than I anticipated. Was I deriving satisfaction from this? Watching Ashley's carefully cultivated image shatter, witnessing her loss of control over the narrative she'd so meticulously constructed? Perhaps, a little. I regret that you are hurting, I responded carefully. I regret that you married someone who lacks respect for you. I do not regret that the truth has been revealed. She claims it was meaningless. Jake was merely assisting her with pre-wedding jitters. The physical aspect was just a form of stress relief. Ryan, I am aware of how it sounds, but people commit errors. Marriage is about forgiveness, isn't it? I stared at my son, this grown man who continued to cling to romantic fantasies. Darling, she has been engaged in an affair for 6 months. She leased an apartment. She had planned to inform you about a relocation to California following the honeymoon, without any prior discussion. This was not mere cold feet or stress management. How are you aware of California? I related the conversation I overheard in the bridal suite. His face crumpled as each element sunk in. She had everything pre-planned, he whispered. The relocation, severing ties with everyone here. With you? Yes. The job opportunity in California is legitimate. She accepted it 2 weeks ago. She intended to present it as an unexpected windfall we couldn't pass up. We sat in silence for a few moments. Outside, the streetlights illuminated the darkness, and I could hear a neighbor's dog barking at an unseen presence in their backyard. So there you have it. A wild, messy, and ultimately heartbreaking unraveling of a wedding that wasn't built on truth. It just goes to show, sometimes the most well-laid plans can crumble when secrets are brought to light. It's a reminder that honesty and respect are the bedrock of any lasting relationship, and that family, even when sidelined, has a way of making its voice heard. This isn't the end of the story, though. Part 2 is coming soon, where we'll see how Ryan navigates the aftermath of this bombshell and what the future holds for Margaret, our accidental internet sensation. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think Margaret should do next? What advice would you give Ryan? Leave a comment down below. I read them all, and I'm really interested in your perspective. And if this story resonated with you, be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss part 2. We'll delve even deeper into the complexities of family, relationships, and the unexpected twists life throws our way. Plus, there'll be plenty more stories coming your way after that, so hit that subscribe button and stay tuned.